I believe there is a sequence and a code to unlocking anything you want in your life. What is happening, everybody, man? Thank you guys for tuning in. And what's up, man? What's up, Ryan? How are you?
Good. Hey, how's it going, John? Right on.
Yeah, right on, man. Well, I appreciate you making the time, jumping in, and it was good seeing you last week at KT.
Yes, that was an amazing event, as always. Getting together with people that are in your tribe is always phenomenal, and I just can't believe the level of people that are, in the room, doing the work, doing what it takes to, grow their business and basically, wanting to provide support to all the other agents out there and, that kind of stuff going on. So, I mean, it was really phenomenal.
What was big takeaway for you?
Sunday planning for sure. So yeah, getting my, I do it a little bit or have off and on in the past and stuff like that, but really going through that process and, journaling and writing down, the things that I did get done in the week before and the things that I need to get done this week, that really, really helped. So I just sat down and did the whole process this Sunday, took the 90 minutes or so it takes and, had a phenomenal week. So yeah, we got more videos done. We got more, all of our stuff done, right? So
it's crazy. Just a little bit of that preparation, what it'll allow you to do. I think it's for me, it's getting crystal clear on, what is essential, right? What is necessary versus, man, I think I need to be doing this. And it just goes from a busy to busy to really being productive, right? Being effective. Right. And, another little component to that's not even in there as it relates to, the team, right? If you guys are leading, having a team is even kind of thinking through kind of what are those main initiatives that, the things that they have on their plate and where are they at? And, one of the adjustments that we made to the planner was that reflective time and, just really hit me listening to Glenn at the Sprint last month, really talking about, his time over the weekends, really reflecting on the week that was and really being able to think about that because when he gets with the leadership team on Monday, he's got a little more insight and clear direction of what, of what we're trying to achieve and accomplish as it relates to the overall, big objective. And then also the short-term, milestones that we have to cross in order to make sure we're on the right path. So it was really good to go through that process. I know for me, if there's a week where it's a little off or I'm not able to really dive in deep with enough time for it, man, I feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you just get caught up in that whirlwind of, energy and things that the world's happening, all those different things, right? Like there's so much stuff happening in the world with the feds and the this and the that's and the Christmas time and the holidays. And, if you're not intentional with what you are, yeah, you can get sucked into any of those things, whether we want to or not. So it's like, no, hold on, time out. I got to go do this real quick. It's what I've been saying a lot this week. For sure.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think it's critical, to take the time to kind of reflect, to plan, to be intentional. Mm-hmm. And I know you work with a lot of agents and especially on the, on the lead gen demand side of things, but where do you see kind of with you, diving in with a lot of agents, all different stages, all different calibers, like where are you seeing the thing that's kind of standing out that they're missing or not paying attention to?
Yeah. So, one of the things that I've been noticing a lot is, new agents, that section or that category, or let's say anybody, they might not be new, but anybody that does like 5 and less deals or 10 and less deals a month or a year. Sorry, a month would be great. But a year, that category of agent, they're really thinking that the people that are closing a bunch of deals have secrets, right? And that they need to be able to pay for those secrets or have those just be able to pay for it, right? And so It's like, no, there's a lot of work that goes into that stuff. You can't just pay for it, as far as that shiny object syndrome goes, right? So when people are like trying to buy leads, or they're trying to buy this system, or they're trying to buy that system, or they're saying, well, this system is better than this, or Ryan, why is this system, why is your system better than this system? Things like that. And it's like, well, they're all pretty dang good, right? Most of the lead generation systems out there, they'll get you some leads, but it's that follow-up sequence, and it's that, the work, right? The work of being a professional. And so a lot of them are missing that part. And then I think a lot of the more experienced agents that I work with, they forgot that part, that's what got them. Right.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
when things shift a little bit, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute, my team is not generating all these leads, and they're not doing all this stuff. They just forgot that, there's a lot of work to being a professional. You got to know your market. You got to know your area. You got to open your mouth and point it at people, and whether that's belly to belly or this way, right? Talking back and forth, doing interviews, getting on, YouTube and, all the different social media platforms, and really just explaining the things that are going on in the market to your audience, in that authentic way. And I know authentic, I don't know, sometimes it gives me cringes when people say that, but that's my problem. I'm a terrible salesperson, right? I'm like, oh, don't say those words. But no, really, you want to be authentic, right? And you want to deliver that value and deliver what's really happening in the market, right?
Yeah.
And
What do you mean by authentic?
Build
Like,
that.
what is your take on being authentic?
So being authentic is, I get this from my grandma, right? And, I guess she died a long time ago. But anyway, that's my favorite thing that she imparted her wisdom and knowledge to me was never do anything or say anything that you wouldn't want published on the front page of the newspaper, right? So to me, I take that as, you see me here like this, you're going to see me in my bedroom, you're going to see me out in the grocery store, and you're going to see me, driving my truck. And I'm going to be that same exact person. Why? Because I never want anybody to have anything over on me, or never feel that I didn't treat them this, how I really am. Right.
Right.
And so that's what I mean by being authentic is, be that same person in public, be that same person in private, and just, you got to be yourself. Right. And so many people get in that real estate industry, or, the industry, and, think that they have to be an actor, right? You got to fake it till you make it. Well, not really. You can get out there and you can know your market stats, and you can know every cell, and you can visit the homes, and you can be that expert, right, in your market, and you're going to be ahead of 99%. Right. I promise. Right.
Right.
And so that's whether you're a new person or an old person. And if you don't know something, that's one of the things that you got to tell people. I don't know, but guess what? I know where to find it out, and I'll look it up for you. You don't have to be an expert on everything, right? Like somebody comes to me and says, hey, Ryan, how do you do, gain an Instagram following and get bigger Instagram? I'm going to say, I have no clue. That is not what I do. Right. They're like, but you're an internet guy. I know. I can figure it out. I can tell you what to do. But guess what? Here's what I did. I did paid ads. I did not post on Instagram. I did not post on Facebook. I posted pictures of the custom knives I made because I liked it for fun. And people would say, hey, can I buy one? And I say, no. They're my babies, right? So that was my social media experience, right? So am I doing it now? Yes. Because I hired somebody to take my content and start doing it for me. Yeah. So, don't ask me, things like that. Or if I don't know, I'm going to tell you, but running real estate deals, it was 100% Google. I would spend, a couple $1,000 a month, get a bunch of Google leads. I'd send them videos, I'd send them texts, and I'd follow up, and I'd teach them about the market and why it's important to buy a home, and that's how I grew my business. Right. Yeah. So that's what I teach people, so authenticity, I think.
Yeah. So unpack that a little bit for us, because, where you focus, kind of where it starts, and where a lot of people miss, right? No matter what we're doing, we're still trying to get to a conversation. When does an opportunity really become a real opportunity? And like what you're talking about in the follow-up, but how from, getting them to consume content in the follow-up, how how that works
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
understanding. And you made a great point at KT. You were like, when's the last time, you got a phone call from Frank Kern? When's the last time you got a phone call from Russell Brunson?
Yeah.
Kind of unpack and share that so, people can kind of get their heads around exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, where did you come up with that? Where did you find that stat? It's been bugging me all week. There's the new one where it says you have to call somebody 22 times. Was that
Yeah.
HubSpot? Was that?
I had a few people that
That's
went
what
to
sparked it, right?
that went to the Follow Up Boss
Okay. Follow up.
conference.
That's right.
And I think that was one of the statistics that Follow Up Boss had shared, that, opportunities are taking more touches
Mm-hmm.
than they have, in the past. And, I remember even Kern talking about number of impressions had moved up, pretty significantly, because, used to be, low double digits of number of impressions. And then, he started talking just from all of his stuff is like, no, it's probably double that, right? It's in the
Yep.
20s number of impressions that you have to have on somebody, just because there's so much noise in the marketplace and coming at you, and so many distractions, that if they're not seeing the message, or getting in front of them, interrupting them, or they're seeing it. And, we used to apply it more from an offline strategy, and a little bit of online to help. But it's kind of shifted. I still think the principle applies, even real estate locally, to do those things. And what I mean by number of impressions is that, like, when we dominated our geographical area that we really wanted to focus heavy on, right? So at that time, Kinder actually lived there, and so we played off of that in our direct mail pieces. So we were showing up in their mailbox. He had the Hummer wrapped, so he's in and out of the neighborhood every day. And if you're kind of coming through, there's a chance you're going to see it. We had, a pretty fair share of market share. So we had signs in the yards. We had a billboard strategically placed right outside of the neighborhood. And if you turn, you're going into town, you have to drive by that billboard. So
Yep.
what I mean by number of impressions, at any given day, you could wake up, you could drive by, you could see the Hummer, you could see 2-yard signs, you could see the billboard, and then that was just on your way out. And then when you come home, you're going to see those things again, and then you're going to maybe get a piece of mail, that has our stuff. There's 9 impressions that could happen in one day, just from our message and our brand.
Yep.
And that's what Frank was talking about, more from an online perspective, is that you've got to have more impressions with them to be able to do that. But the statistic that we're referring to, as far as number of touches, was what, and I don't even know where the statistic came from. It might be that outdated ISA, MIT study.
Right.
And so it's like, you got to have, 11 to 15, touches, right, before somebody will take action. But what Follow Up Boss, from either the collective of the data through all of their platforms, they said the number was closer to 22 touches for every opportunity. And I know what you do, you try to, with content and some automation, to be able to allow them to consume at their pace, and allow them to be warm to where they're coming to you. And so, yeah, kind of break that apart, and kind of the understanding and the why, the rationale behind it.
Yeah. Well, so many people get stuck in, if I generate a lead online, that is a sales qualified lead, right? Well,
MLQ,
yeah,
right? Market
that's what they
qualified lead.
think.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what they think, right? They think those should be sales qualified. They're ready, willing, able to close, and pre-approved, get them in the car and go, right? That's what they're imagining, I think. And so that's a misconception, right? They're more of a market qualified lead.
Right.
They've raised their hand and said, hey, I'm thinking about dipping my toe in this market. I would like some information, and I don't want to be harassed quite yet.
Right.
Because if I did, I'd call Zillow, or whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, and we're never going to trick anybody into buying a house, right? Like, we got you, come buy a house, because it's a big purchase, and it takes a lot to do that. So what we got to do is get them from market qualified to that sales qualified lead, right? And doing that takes education, takes time, takes commitment on both parties, right? And so the best way that we found to do it is really, education. Oh my gosh, who would have thought of that? The same thing that you're going to do if you get a referral from, your mom or your cousin, and it's your whatever third or fourth cousin that you may or may not have ever met, you're gonna talk to them, you're gonna reach out, you're gonna see where they are, and you're gonna be compassionate, right?
Mm.
And you're gonna care, and then you're gonna help them get whatever they want, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I picture it is, whenever I got a lead, I would treat him like, my uncle, and just be, sometimes he was an asshole, sometimes he was funny, sometimes he was this, right? But it was always, I knew they loved me and I loved them.
Right.
And so it's like, you just got to work through that stuff, right? And so if I'm sending them emails, if I'm sending them videos or texts or, voicemails even, or calling them, right? I'm imagining when I'm doing that they're going like this every time we talk, right? So they're just listening and nodding their head until they're ready, right? Then they're going to be like, oh, so like what you're doing right now, right? You're listening to me, you're nodding your head, you're going, yep, that's right, Ryan, that's
Yeah.
right. Until something that you're like, oh, I can add in here. I should, punch that. Then you're going to say something. Same thing with lead generation in any form, right? So that's what we need to do. We're giving them, we're advertising them something, right? They took something, they gave us their name and email and phone number for something, right? Something of value or not value. Most of the time it's a homes list. Great, who cares? But that what triggers people, right? So we know they're willing to give us their information for that, right? Then we need to help them consume the market, right? So now what does that mean? Well, it's like, how many homes are there available on the market? Is it, still so competitive and crazy? How much down payment do you need? So then you can do all that kind of stuff through additional, retargeting ads. You can do it through videos. You can do it through email. So one of the guys that we're working with right now, he's, I love him, do an amazing job. Exactly what we tell him, right? And he's super excited about it. So that's what makes the best client. They're super excited.
Right.
And they see it works. So, it's like we're generating leads for him. He's getting a bunch of them, right? He's been with us since September, I think, 2 closings, and he's got 8 people in the car that he's showing property to right now. And he's getting 2 more new people that he's having appointments with every week as one agent, right? And so what's he doing? He's doing video. He's building out his YouTube channel. I mean, he's got 5 videos on his YouTube channel right now, right? So most people, they're like, oh no, YouTube, it takes 3 months. You got to do all this. You got to do, 20 videos a week. And, you really need to push that content. Yeah, true. But you know what? Here's the thing. If you do 1 video a week with highly targeted keywords, that's going to be what the algorithm wants to see. That's what Google wants to see. They want to see consistency. They want to see that you're putting your message out there in a format that's easily digestible and searchable and is relevant, right? So if you can do that once a week, that's going to be perfect. If you can do it twice a week with consistency, great. But don't do 5 in 1 week and none the next, and 1 with this, and 20 the next week, right?
Right.
That screws up the algorithm. They don't know. So whatever you can commit to, that's the best way. So he's done all this with 5 videos, right? So we're generating leads through paid traffic, Google and Facebook. We're sending them videos about the area and about the market and about the different incentives that are happening right now. New construction is a great one, right now. I mean, because they've got some great incentives. New construction was a great one before because everybody wanted a new construction and they couldn't have one. And if you found one that was going, fell out of contract, you were a hero, right? And so new construction's been a great place. So we're sending them those kind of things. Once they get those videos, right, in the email, we're sending them text. This is all automation. So we're creating a workflow every week. Here's our video. It's an email, right? Boom. Then we're sending them a text like 5-10 minutes, hour later. Hey, we just sent you a video on XYZ. I think you're really going to like it. Let me know if you have any questions. And then he spelled the word wrong in there, right, in that text. And so then he had an another text that goes out that says, spelled it right with a little smiley face, like we do, like, oh, here's the corrected way. And then another text right after that says, hit me up if you got any questions, right? So 3 texts in a row, just like normal people text. So it looks,
right.
That's a real person sending that stuff.
Right.
He got 40 responses from that. and 6 appointments.
Yeah.
So, don't do that every single email, but you need to send emails every week, but like every third or second time or randomly, send the text and then send those things.
Yeah.
That way it looks real. And then it is real because you are sending it. You do care. You are authentic to them.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the big pieces I think that are working right now in this market, right? Next step for him is we're going to add in, a home buyer's webinar. We're going to add in a home seller's webinar. Then we're going to run that to the list, right? Send those emails to the list, send that to the list. Then we're going to send them the replays. Then we're going to drive traffic to those once he has it dialed in as an additional lead source, right? So the whole point is getting people to see your face, put it with your voice so that they know who you are and that you are an authority in your market, right? That's the biggest threat to real estate agents, always has been, is being unknown. You know what I mean? And so, whether you're doing that through billboards and wrapped Hummers and all those kind of things, or you're doing it through content and video and really helping people understand the area and the market and what's in it for them, right? Like that book from Joe Polish that he gave us, which is amazing. Almost done with that one. So been reading that every morning. It's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is. I got sidetracked, right? I'm down the David Goggins rabbit hole right now. So we'll get back on that. But yeah, I think that's kind of what you're talking about from an educational standpoint. That's where a lot of, I think, people get hung up in the fear of creating content is like, what am I going to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
So as you're talking with working with agents and helping them create that educational, the content stuff, like where do you, what do you kind of advise them to be thinking about? Or, hey, here's kind of a list of things that we need to, that you can speak on and that you can really utilize to create that's going to be relevant, like you said, to the audience in the marketplace right now.
Yeah. So a lot of, it all just starts with keyword research, right? I'm not a genius. I don't know everything in every market, but guess what? Google does. So we have a couple of keyword tools that we go and we type, the keywords like, hey, I think, Longmont homes for sale. People type that in, right? Or Boulder homes for sale, or Denver, or Oklahoma City. People type that in, right? Okay. Now we look at related keywords. What else do they type in? And we kind of just go through those things and then we see what shows up in the search engines and in Google, right? And a lot of times it's going to be weird things that you're like, oh my gosh, people wanted to know this frequently asked question about, the old sugar mill was one of their top things. Holy cow. Who would have thought about that? Let's go do a video on that. It's, or the old turkey farm or whatever, right. That now is condos.
Yeah. What is so what are some of the tools that, recommend to kind of dive into the keywords?
Yeah. So Keywords Everywhere. It's a great one. It's, so cheap as far as if you use the paid part, but they have a free one too. But it's just a Chrome plugin called Keywords Everywhere, and it's like $10 for like, I don't know, 1 million searches or something, right? Wow. So, and you can turn it off and on. So like if you want to do keyword research, it'll basically pull up, you type in your Google stuff and it'll put in however many backlinks each one of those, people that are ranking has. What percentage of backlinks, and it'll show you the list of backlinks, and then it'll show you all the related words and all those different things, right? And so like I never turn mine off even when I'm doing normal searches, and I think it's been 6 months since I've refilled my $10. So and it just you get so many credits and then it just keeps going.
And explain why that, I mean, just elementary, why paying attention to the keywords is so important.
It lets you know what the market is asking or wanting to know, right? And so you see how many searches each one of those keywords has. And if something has 0 searches, it might not be the best keyword to go after, but if something's got like 1,200 searches for local stuff is pretty good, and it's like, okay, yeah, I want to rank for that. Or if something has 6,000 searches or 12,000 searches, like, Dallas and, Houston and Austin and, those have big search words, right? Big volume, Idaho Falls, Idaho, where I grew up, that one doesn't have as many, but you still want to rank for those, you know what I mean? So it's not really an amount, but it's in that, what are people looking for? You want to make sure you see.
And then we're utilizing the keyword feedback help create content, to help subject lines,
Yep.
headlines.
Yep. And ranking values, right? So those are the things, that's our overall structure that we want, is that, we want to rank for this keyword, right? So we want to put it in our title, we want to have it in our description, and then we want to have, it's called latent semantic indexing, or LSI, and so it's all those other related words that support this keyword, right?
Okay.
And so those are the tags and, all that kind of stuff. And so then once you get your tags, right, and you have all those tags that will support this keyword, then you want to write your descriptions that include those tags.
Gotcha.
And so if you can make a sentence with each one of those tags and have that sentence structure in a paragraph and have it make sense, you're a genius.
Yeah. And I mean, do you utilize Jasper to help?
So I use a different one, but yeah, they're great. I think I use Copy AI. I'm like, what is the name of the one I use? But Copy AI, I think they're all about the same.
Yeah.
And they do a great job, right? So that helps when I'm stuck and I need, ideas.
Yeah.
Like that.
I think kind of that process, for somebody that's just trying to figure it out, you utilize the keyword search tools to find kind of what's relevant, where that needs to be. And then you can utilize the AI like Jasper, used to be Jarvis, like Jasper, you can just put those keywords in and hit go, and it'll start creating content. It'll do all of the stuff for you. The only little, word of caution is, you need to fact check it, because sometimes it'll just make shit up. So
yeah, it's copywriters, right? They're really good at making things up.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
definitely.
So it is. It is good. So no, I think really spending some time there and being able to create that is absolutely critical for that. So yeah, I'm definitely excited, because I know, we're working with you and helping to create some stuff and really create those assets of being able to consume and go that route. Where does the, the traditional sales side of things kick in? Where does that kick in? How does it beneficial? And even, for some, those that have built their business just around the whole outbound prospecting side of things, like, how does this all tie together?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's sales is sales, right? So the conversations and dials and all those metrics that, normal sales have, we want those same metrics, right? We want to see what's happening. We want to know if they're consuming our content, if they're clicking on it, and if they're responding, right? And so then the sales happens in the relationship, and it always does, no matter what industry you're in, right? You can't sell somebody something unless you get into that relationship. And so once you have that relationship, whether it's a trusted advisor, whether it's the, hero, or whether it's the hard worker, I'm going to work my butt off because I'm new and nobody else. So whatever persona you're projecting to your audience, you know what I mean? That's where the sales happen. So you definitely have to have sales skills. You definitely need to have people's skills,
Right.
And you got to be able to open up the house and show them, and, don't say, oh, welcome. Here's the kitchen. Here's the fireplace. Well, we can see that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Do that on a video, but, in person, just be yourself. Talk to them. Have a conversation. Let them know that the person that they saw in your videos is the same person that's walking them through the houses. You know what I mean? And just, if they ask questions that you don't know, that's the biggest thing that's going to build rapport faster than anything, is being honest and telling them, you know what, I have no clue, but let me find out for you.
Yeah.
So my line is, you know what, I could totally make something up and it's probably going to be close, but let me go do some research and find that out.
Yep.
Right. So
that's cool.
That's what I do.
Cool.
And it's one of those things that you don't have to know everything.
Right. And that's that ego thing, right? Thinking that you do. And there's more value, like you said, in the relationship, when you're just like, I don't know. Let me find out though, and I can get back to you. And so I think that's where, like you said, goes back to that trust, which is my belief. No matter what happens, no matter what comes along to try to disrupt the real estate industry and the real estate, space, it'll always come down to a decision of trust.
Absolutely.
And those that are positioned as the true expert in their marketplace, that have, consistency in their content and their brand. And, guys listening, what we're talking about is it's the follow-up through, through some automation and but it's still content. We're still creating content that the potential opportunity is consuming until they are qualified, right? I think HubSpot categorizes it as an MQL, right? A market qualified lead.
Yeah.
And that's where we're trying to go from somebody interested to somebody that's really interested. They're ready to roll, right? They're qualified now, qualified and ready. Those are the two things that we're really trying to push people to. And, instead of having, this is a great little point right here, is that if you want to increase your sales team's conversion, increase the opportunities to where through your marketing efforts and content efforts to where you can get them ready.
Yep.
Qualified and ready. And I think that's essentially kind of the space that you're playing in, is that you're helping individuals that are creating opportunities, and also to create opportunities, but then also getting them to an MQL status, which makes it so much easier. And that's the power of content and the YouTube channels and people that are consuming your content. When they come to you, I mean, it's like they already know you, and they're developing a relationship with your content. Yep. And that's why it's so critical that we think about this and how we're incorporating it into our business moving forward, because it's just going to be significantly easier than just the traditional, hey, give me a list. Hey, let me hammer these expireds. Let me call the for sale by owners. Let me circle prospect. It's just going to be significantly easier if you're able to have a conversation and then get them into where they can consume and get educated and get to know you.
Yep, absolutely. And let me give a disclaimer here, because there's so many people out there that, like, I talk to them all the time, right? And they're like, I just want your templates. Just put it in, just put go. Will that work? No, it won't, because they're going to relate to me, whether it's your face on there or not, right? And there's so many different people out there that are doing generic Facebook posts for agents, generic emails for agents, all these things. They're creating this content for agents, right? And so avoid that like the plague.
How do you go about that process?
So
kind of talk through your process. How do you find that to where you can't just copy, but you do have a process to go through? Kind of, do you mind sharing kind of the process that how do you help get clear on what it is that the content that you're uniquely gifted or that gives you the energy and passion to be able to create?
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest thing is we all have opinions, and we all know if something's true or not true. Okay. So if there's like the generic content providers, they're going to send out a thing that says the Fed's rate interest rates, 7 or, a half a point yesterday. Right. And blah, 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 blah. And that's going to affect homeownership in this and this way. Right. So it's going to be a generic, sanitized article. Right. And so people are paying $500 a month to have that sent out once a week, that kind of crap, or posted to their Facebook page or whatever that is, right? What you're doing with that kind of content is you're turning your audience and you're training them to ignore you. Why? Because that is not you. So here's the difference. What you need to do is talk about that article and what it means to you and what it means to your audience and what it means to your area. That's it. That's the only difference, right? And so you can still have the same generic stuff, but it needs your opinion about it, because they can get that generic shit anywhere. Oh, sorry. But that's really what it's all about, is people want your opinions on it. And if somebody's looking to buy a home, they want somebody that's an advocate of home buying, right? They don't want somebody to say, oh, now's a really bad time to buy. The interest rates are really high and they've doubled and this and that, right? They want somebody to be on their side that convinces them and says, yes, it's a good time. Why? Because A, you can afford it. When's the best time to buy a house? When you can afford it. Bottom line, right? And if you're a first-time home buyer or any of that stuff, it's absolutely the best time to buy a house is today, right? Because you're paying rent. Yeah. If not, you're buying somebody else's house for them. Right. And home ownership is still one of the biggest ways in order to create wealth in this country. Now there's a whole bunch of people that are working really, really hard, and they're buying a lot of media, they're buying a lot of press, and they're buying a lot of homes because they want 50%. If you make under $100,000 a year, their goal is for you to be a renter.
Yeah.
That's their goal. Like we went to one of those secret conventions for the iBuyers, right?
Yep.
Snuck in there is like, oh yeah, we'll help you sell these things or buy them. And that was their goal, right? 100,000 and less, you're a renter.
Right. Yeah. That's why, that is their goal. That is the intent is
Mhm.
to wipe out, that segment of the population to be able to become a homeowner. Right. That is the intent, is that, you know, institutional investors
Mhm.
to have those properties to where you cannot afford to get that. And it's one
Yep.
of the things I've been telling, I tell all of our clients, tell everybody, is that if you're in a position to buy a home for your kids,
Mhm.
buy a home for your kids,
Yep.
because it's
Absolutely.
going to be, if it's up to the institutional
Even if
investor.
they're two.
Exactly. Even if it's
Like
up
I
to
have
them.
a friend of mine that she bought one of my listings, right? And she had her baby 2 weeks before.
Right.
And she says, I'm buying this for my son.
Right. 100%.
And she's like, it's going to be his college, it's going to be his this, and it's going to be his first home.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's so key to be able to do that. Is absolutely, key, to be thinking about and positioning, because if it's up to them, it's not going to be available. So
No.
really put some thought into that, and
And the
what you can
media
do.
is going to make it so you're an idiot if you own a home.
Yeah,
Because
geez.
that's what
Oh,
they're spending so much dollars to get that across, right? It's like, look, you just lost $9 trillion in the real estate market because prices have dropped 10%.
what's crazy
You know,
too is that
it's like that's not true.
they're gobbling up, influencers to even
Mhm.
say the same message, which is,
Absolutely.
they're just brainwashing, they're just brainwashing our kids.
I
I
know.
mean, really,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
And
crazy.
it's like you got to do your job to make sure that they at least know to buy a dang house, right? And help them buy one because
Yeah.
yeah, if they're getting a job and going through school and all that kind of stuff, they're not going to be able to afford a dang house. It's
No,
crazy.
no, not at all. It's crazy. Hey, so Ryan, just kind of shifting gears as kind of winding down, the thing that you look at as things are now and moving into the future. It's maybe a couple part question. What do you see that you're excited about, but what are some of the things that you see no matter what will never change?
So I definitely believe that, the biggest disruption in the real estate industry is real estate agents, right? There's so many agents that I talk with every single day that come up with amazing ideas. I mean, we are got to be some of the most creative people there are. And I love being a part of this industry. Right? So like, that's what I think real estate agents are the biggest disruptor there is. It's not going to be Zillow. It's not going to be these iBuyers. It's not going to be this stuff. We are going to find a way in order to get that to shift. Right.
Right.
And so when we can do that with our own media and, run our own media company, basically, and produce our message and what we think about the markets and what we think about that is never going to, if you get that skill, that's never going to change. You're going to have it, whether it's, like I said, through billboards or Hummer wraps or any Hummer wraps,
Sure.
wrap Hummers. Yeah. So, you're definitely, that thing is never going to change. That if you can get your message out there, that, you're going to be able to be super successful. Now I talked with a couple of different, big time agents, and they're, one of my friends, Jeff, he's basically sells like 1,200 houses a year. And he's, I don't care what brokerage I'm with, I'm getting into mortgage and insurance and, title and this and that, because the real estate commissions are going to die. What? How is all these other commissions going to live and real estate commissions going to die?
100%.
So it's like, I don't see that stuff happening. I think home prices are going to keep going up for sure. I think we have corrections. I think we have markets, but the things that aren't going to change is if that person to person relationship,
Right.
it's like, I don't need a financial advisor. I don't need a CPA. I don't need a freaking roofer. I don't even need a dentist. I can pull my own damn teeth. I can put a roof on my house. I can do all that kind of stuff, right? But I'm not going to,
Right.
and, my financial advisor or my accountant, I don't need them. On Google, I can push buttons and do my own taxes and, get my own advisory things. Right. But you know what? Hell no. I want somebody that I can talk to that can talk me off the ledge, right? Can walk me through the process. That's their whole job in life,
Sure.
So the whole thing where we're going to be replaced or eliminated, disrupted, the disruption is us, right? It's
100%. I think it's the thinning of the herd. And one of the things that we always talked about is that, our biggest competitor wasn't our biggest competitor. Our biggest competitor was that unqualified AFA, average frustrated agent that, has never sold more than, 2 or 3 homes in their entire life. That was our biggest challenge, right? Is overcoming that. And
the market's perception of that.
The market's perception of that. The one thing that I love about, the difference between our friends up north in Canada versus here in the States is that it's not easy to get your license in Canada.
Yeah.
And it's just too easy to get your license here in the States. And because it's a money grab, it's a political thing, right? They need as many damn agents as possible paying their NAR dues so they can fund all of the money. It's a money thing. That's the only reason that the barrier of entry to get into real estate is so low. And that's the problem. And so, but changing that, too much money. They're not going to allow that to happen. Just too much money at play. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's huge industries, huge money, huge everything. Right. And it's like, we can't worry about those things. You know what I mean?
Nope,
all we can worry about is what what happens in between here. That's the only thing we can control.
Getting back into what's within our control.
Yep. And when you can control that, you can be unstoppable.
That's right. Man, I appreciate you jumping in. A wealth of knowledge as always. Man, you guys listening in, I highly recommend to connect with Ryan at Coach Ryan Harper everywhere. Connect. If you have an opportunity, you're struggling, you need to, create the right kind of content to move from opportunities to really qualified and ready opportunities. Jump on his calendar, go through a call. Like I said, hey, we're a client. We're working with Ryan, on our end, doing the things that we're doing. So, brother, I appreciate you taking the time, jumping in. It was great seeing you guys last week. And we'll definitely have to keep doing it again.
Look forward to it. Thanks,
cool.
John.
See you guys. Bye.
Later.